Next one is Jared. Jared says, hey guys, I have a query about your SEO Power Shield product and best practices for using it. I bought 3 Power Shields for my GMBs and website. Okay. I'm not sure if it's all the same brand. You didn't need 3 Power Shields. You only needed 1. Because the way your question is worded, it sounds like you have 3 GMBs but 1 website. If that's the case, then it's recommended to use a Power Shield for the brand and then separate location shields or RYS expansions, but just go with location shields now for any additional locations. Does that make sense? So like, for example, if you have one brand with 3 locations, then you would have the SEO Power Shield should be what you order for the brand. And then you would have a location shield for each GMB location, unless you've got, like, for example, which a lot of the times multi-location brands do, is they'll have one location tied to the main, like the root of the site itself. So like there will be one primary location and then additional locations, in which case you could have the SEO Power Shield for the brand plus the primary location, right? And then separate location shields for the other 2, if in the example that I just gave. So anyways, that's that. Hopefully you didn't have 3 Power Shields, because you don't, that kind of, you can create some issues there because you're trying to have one branded stack in G Site. Marco, do you want to kind of take over on that for a minute? Because I know you might have a better explanation than I do.
He says GMBs plural and website 1. So I'm thinking he's got multiple locations, but 1 website. It's 1 SEO shield, 1 SEO Power Shield, and the other, what you would do with the others is create locations. Right. Except, as you said, if he has 1 main location, which is perfectly fine to make the corporate headquarters. But no, do not use 1 Power Shield per location.
Yeah.
Because that's going to create ambiguity with the entity. I mean, you're going to tell Google that it's 3 different companies.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that. You want to bring everything under 1 banner. Schema is really good to tie all this together. How you bring those locations as children of the parent location or as children of the brand. Always, guys, when you're doing this, I'm going to talk in general now. When you're doing this, think of your brand and how you want to express your brand, how you want your brand to look on the web. You don't want someone thinking that there are 3 different brands in 3 different locations, unless it's a franchise. If it's 3 different franchises, then yes, it calls for it with 3 different franchisees. Then you could get away with doing that. But this, you never want to do something like this, where you're doing 3 locations and 3 Power Shields, because that would be for 3 brands.
Yeah.
We're not trying to do that. Bring everything together under 1 entity which represents the 3 locations. Even if you have different DBAs, as long as it's the same vertical, you could bring them in under 1 umbrella, which is whatever service it is that you provide. So think about that. Then you think about niche, you think about the different locations, and you begin creating the necessary associations. But no, not like this. And I suggest that you write to support at mgyb.co until you can get back to them, or to, man, how do we do this? Because this has to be corrected. We can't do 3.
Yeah, this needs to be corrected. And just to clarify, Marco, he does say each location has a different GMB and a different URL location address, but it's tied to the same main URL. So that's exactly the case. It's 1 brand.
You don't want to do
3
that.
locations. So we need to correct that somehow. But yeah, just to clarify, it should be 1. And I just want to show this so you guys understand, like the SEO Power Shield should be for the overall brand. And then what happens is, because then you get the syndication network, branded syndication network, you get the RYS stack with the G site that's set up for the main entity, the brand itself. And then you have the ID page for that, for that, usually whatever the entity is tied to for its primary location. Then what you do for multi-location businesses is, for each subsequent location, you would order an SEO location shield, because what you end up doing is, and you specify when you order the location shield, you put your login details in the order form that was given to you for your DriveStack account, essentially your DriveStack and G Site account. There's a section in the order form that says, if you had a previously built stack and G site, what are the login details for that? And you would put those in there so that the build team and MGYB can go back into that Google account and add pages to your G site for the location, each, separate location, for each location shield essentially. And then also to go into your drive stack, your primary RYS folder, and then they clone that and create a subfolder that's optimized for that location. Does that make sense? So instead of having 3 G sites, 3 RYS drive stacks, 3 syndication networks, and 3 ID pages that are all kind of separate, what you end up with is 1 syndication network, 1 branded G site, and 1 branded drive stack with ID pages for each location, subfolders for each location, and internal pages on the G site for each location. And that's why we do that. We tell you to order the SEO Power Shield for the main entity. If it's tied to one, if the main entity is tied to one location, then that's fine. It can be optimized for that location. But then each subsequent location would be a location shield. If that makes sense. You want to clarify?
Right. Yeah. Right to support at mgyb.co and tell Ruzel, I just say, Marco asked me to I don't know, write to you to correct my order with the 3 shields. And I think what we could do is we can give him the branded stack and the 2 locations, or if he wants that other location, we can look and see what the difference is. But you need branded and 3 location, and we can apply the difference to another location or whatever he wants to do. If we owe you money, we can apply it towards link building. We can refund it. I mean, that's cool. I don't care, but this needs to be corrected before it goes out.
I agree.
So right away, right to support at mgyb.co and tell Ruzel, because that's the person who will look at your ticket, and tell her Marco asked you to write to her so that we can look at this and correct it. And your order numbers, of course.
This is just an odd situation that is kind of difficult, because the second part of this says my GMB location